You were once the quiet one, the one who fit in, the one who followed, the one who stayed in the background, afraid to speak up. You wore the mask they gave you, blending in with the crowd, moving like a shadow, unseen, unnoticed. There was a comfort in being invisible, in being just another face among many. Life felt predictable, safe even. You were like the sheep in the flock, grazing peacefully, unaware of the power that was quietly building inside you. It was there, waiting, but you didn't know it yet. You were told to stay small, stay quiet, that you were too much for the world to handle, and you believed it. You played the game. They said, stay in your lane, and you did. You let their whispers, their expectations, their norms shape the contours of your life. You let the world define who you were supposed to be. But deep down, you felt a tug, a hunger, a whisper from within, telling you there was more to life than just existing, that there was more to you than what the world allowed you to be. But you pushed it down, hid it away, afraid to confront it. Because change, real change, felt dangerous. It felt like stepping off a cliff into the unknown. But one day, the tide shifted. That quiet voice became a roar, and everything that once felt so comfortable, so familiar, began to feel suffocating. You couldn't stand it anymore. You couldn't bear to live in the shadow of the life they built for you. You started to see the cracks, the lies, the illusions, and you realized that you were more than just a sheep. You were something wild, something untamable, something they would never expect. So you decided to break free, to stop following, to stop fitting in, to stop being the quiet, passive presence in the room. The first step was terrifying. The unknown always is. But with each decision, with each moment of defiance, you felt that power growing inside you. It started with small changes, standing up for yourself, saying no when you used to say yes, stepping into rooms you once thought were for others, not for you. And then, it happened. Something inside you snapped like the sound of a cage door breaking open. You stepped into your power. The quiet, unsure you was gone. And in its place, the beast emerged. You were no longer the sheep grazing in the field. You were the lion stalking the plains. You were the force of nature no one could ignore. The power you had once feared, the power you once buried, was now unleashed, wild and fierce. It wasn't a gradual shift. It wasn't something you could ease into. It was an awakening, a sudden burst of energy, a fire that lit up your soul and changed everything around you. You didn't just step into your own power, you exploded into it. You looked in the mirror and saw someone different, someone stronger, someone unrecognizable. But it wasn't a scary change. It was freeing. You felt the shift within you, but others? They didn't know what to make of it. They didn't understand this new version of you. The sheep they once knew was gone. And now, you were something entirely different, something they could not control. Your thoughts were sharper. Your actions were louder. Your presence was undeniable. It was as if the very air around you changed when you entered a room. And they felt it. They felt the power radiating off you, and they didn't know how to respond. They would try. Oh, they'd try. They'd try to pull you back into your old life, try to remind you of the sheep you once were. They'd try to use guilt, shame, and doubt to keep you small. They'd try to tell you that you were too much, that you had gone too far. But what they didn't realize was that you weren't listening anymore. You didn't need their validation. You didn't need their approval. The beast inside you was untouchable. The moment you embraced that power, you were no longer confined by their rules. The world that once told you what to do, how to behave, who you should be, none of it mattered anymore. You were free. You were unstoppable. They would call you selfish. They'd say you changed, and not in a good way. They'd tell you that you've become too big for your own good, too wild, too untamed. They'd try to put you in a box, label you, control you. But they were always going to fail. You could feel it in your bones. They're still trying. But every time they attempt to make you fit their idea of who you should be, you break free again. Every attempt to push you back into the mold only shows them how much stronger you've become. Every whisper, every sneer, every judgment, it doesn't hurt you anymore. It only makes you grow. You've learned to thrive in the fire, to rise from the ashes. And that's what terrifies them. Because they know something they've never been able to admit. You are beyond their control. They watch you now, from a distance. They see you standing tall, unshaken, unafraid. They see you embracing the power you once feared, and it scares them. Because they know that the beast you've become is something they'll never be able to escape. But here's the thing. They don't even need to escape you. They're trapped in their own fear, in their own mediocrity. And the worst part? They'll never know what it feels like to be free, to be unapologetically themselves, to rise above everything that once held them down. But you've done it. And now, nothing can stop you. The world doesn't know it yet, but they're witnessing the rise of a force unlike anything they've seen before. And no matter how much they try to shrink you, silence you, or control you, you'll only get bigger, stronger, more dangerous. Because once you step into your power, you're not just surviving anymore. You're thriving. You're a force of nature that cannot be ignored. And no matter how much they try to keep you in their box, you'll always break free. They never saw the shift. They couldn't recognize it, even if it was right in front of them. But you felt it deep within you. The change that occurred when you stopped playing by the rules they set for you. You stopped waiting for the nod of approval, the pat on the back. You stopped hoping someone would see your worth. Because now, you recognize your value. Deep down, you know that you're capable of so much more than they could ever imagine. The path you've chosen was never meant for everyone. Not everyone will understand why you chose to rise while they stayed stuck. The truth is, it's uncomfortable to challenge everything you've ever known. It's uncomfortable to break away from what's familiar, even if it's holding you back. But you did it. You took that leap. You turned your back on the safety net, knowing it was never going to catch you. And that's when the magic happened. It's not just about physical transformation either. It's about mental, emotional, and spiritual evolution. When you decided to break free from the mold, you didn't just change the way you look. You changed the way you see the world. You now understand that the barriers people face are often self-imposed. The limits they place on themselves are only real if you let them be. You've learned that the greatest prison is the one built in the mind. Here's the most shocking part. You've only just begun. The freedom you've unlocked is just the beginning of a journey that most people won't even dare to take. And you've been walking this path alone, but you're starting to realize that's not a bad thing. The journey to greatness is not for the faint-hearted. It's for the ones willing to walk alone when necessary. The ones willing to embrace solitude as a tool for growth. The ones who are okay with others not understanding their choices. People will come and go. Some will cheer you on, others will criticize you. The difference now is that none of it matters. You're no longer seeking external validation. You're not trying to fit into someone else's idea of who you should be. The moment you realized your worth was the moment you stopped needing approval. That's when you stopped being a sheep and you started becoming the beast. The one who doesn't ask for permission to thrive. The one who doesn't need the approval of the masses to succeed. But here's the truth. That level of self-awareness is rare. It's a rarity that few will ever experience. Most people will spend their lives chasing after someone else's definition of success. They'll follow the crowd, chasing the things they think will make them happy, only to find that the joy they seek was never in the things they were after in the first place. It's in the strength to say, I'm going to do this on my own terms. It's in the decision to trust yourself more than you trust anyone else. What you've unlocked now is a type of power that scares people. And that's okay. Let them be scared. Let them doubt. Let them wonder how you did it. Because the truth is, they won't understand. They haven't done the work you've done. They haven't faced the fears you've faced. They haven't gone through the grind you've gone through. They haven't fought their own demons. So, while they're busy questioning your journey, you'll be busy taking the next step, building the future they can only dream of. What people fail to realize is that when you stop caring about what others think, you start living in a way that's truly free. You start making decisions based on your own vision for your life. You stop feeling the need to explain yourself because you know you don't owe anyone an explanation. You've stopped being the passive bystander in your own life. You've taken control of the narrative, and now you write your own story. And that story, it's going to be unlike anything they expect. It's going to be a story of strength, resilience, and power. A story of a person who rose against the odds and created a life that's aligned with their true purpose. A story that inspires others to do the same, to stop being the sheep, to step into their own greatness. But that doesn't come without challenges. You will still face moments of doubt. The path you've chosen won't always be smooth, but what you've built inside yourself, what you've cultivated over time, is the armor that will protect you. Every challenge you face will only strengthen your resolve. Every obstacle will only sharpen your focus. You will keep moving forward because you now know that quitting is not an option. And that's the difference between you and them. They'll give up when it gets hard. They'll stop when the road gets tough. But you'll keep going. You'll keep pushing because you've already seen what happens when you stop listening to the noise. You've seen the power in silence. You've seen the beauty in persistence. And now, you're unstoppable. There's nothing that can hold you back now. The only thing that could stop you is if you choose to stop yourself. But you're not that person anymore. You've evolved. You've learned how to take risks. You've learned how to stand tall in the face of fear. You've learned that greatness isn't given, it's earned. And you've already begun earning yours. So let them talk. Let them judge. Because while they're stuck in their old ways, you'll be out there becoming the person they'll never have the courage to be. You're no longer the sheep. You're the beast. and the world can't escape you.